This is a video, a demo on how to do a drawing using SolidWorks. Now, from previous videos with Dave, he walked you through on how to build this locating plate. So we're going to reference this part in making a drawing. So this first video that we're going to do here is going to be how to initially start a drawing and how to set up the title block and the rev block on a drawing. So to open up a drawing here, when you open up SolidWorks for the first time, you're gonna encounter a home menu here, and from the home menu you can select drawing to open a new drawing. Now there are different ways to open up a drawing. This is just one way. Another way to start a drawing is if you go to your file menu. So let's say if you have this part up, if you go to file, make drawing from part. Now this warning here usually doesn't come up. The only reason why it comes up is because I have a drawing using the same part. So just for this instance, I'm just going to say no, and it's going to open up a new part. Now either way you open up a new part, or a new drawing, it's gonna automatically ask you for your page format. Now we are in ANSI ASME specs, so for this demo we are going to use ANSI size B drawing, and I'm gonna hit OK. Now the very first thing when you start a drawing that you should do is always, especially with SolidWorks, is always check for your units of measurement. So the best way to check here is on the lower right hand of the application here, you'll see an IPS option. So IPS, if you click on that, it stands for inch, pounds, and seconds. Now we want to make sure that we're in imperial units. Okay, so not millimeters or metric. We want to make sure we're in imperial. So it's going to be inch, pounds, and seconds. Now the second most important thing to do before you get started on a drawing is to check your tool options. So to check your tool options, up on the menu bar here, you'll see this gear gadget. If you select that, you're going to come up to your system options, and there's going to be two tabs, system options and document properties. We want to go under document properties, and in drafting standard, we want to make sure that we are in ANSI ASME standards, not ISO or any of these other standards. We are going to use ANSI. And dimensions, let's go ahead and while we're in here also make sure that we are in 2 decimal places for our dimensions. Alright, so again, that's in drafting standards under document properties, dimensions, and your primary position is going to be 2 decimal places. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and select OK. Now before we get started, let's go ahead and get our page set up here. So first, what we're going to do is we are going to add our rev block. So to add a rev block, we are going to go in the annotations of the property manager here, the annotations tab. On the far right here, you're going to see tables, and we're going to go revision table. Now on the left side here, the left pane of SolidWorks, this is going to be your property manager. Now it's going to give you a whole bunch of options on what you want to do with your revision table. We're going to keep it default and not change any of these options. So what we're going to do is just select the green check mark for OK. You can either select it here, or if you notice on the upper right hand corner, you'll see a faint green check mark and a red X. We're just going to hit either or, and it's going to add a rev block. So the zoom function is going to be the same as when you're in a 3D environment in SolidWorks. So you use your wheel mouse, but you want to make sure that your cursor is over what you're trying to zoom into. And you just scroll in using your wheel mouse on your mouse, and to scroll out, you just go the opposite way. All right. So notice on the rev block here, we have some columns here. So we have zone, rev, description, date, and approved. Now there isn't really space here to type in or add another line on the rev block, so we're going to have to add an additional line. So it's almost like an Excel sheet. So what you want to do is go ahead and select the far left column labeled number 2 right there. We're going to right click for the contextual menu, and from the contextual menu, what you're going to do is you're going to insert row below. All right, so now we have space to enter in our first revision here for this particular drawing. So while we're in here, let's go ahead and put in the information. Now, when you're looking at this, there isn't a text box to put in any information. It's actually in there, you just can't see it. So what you're gonna have to do is select the cell, and you're just gonna double click it. Now the text box appears. For this particular drawing, we are just gonna go ahead and make this a Rev A, and make sure it's capitalized. All right, so there's your Rev A. Under description, we're gonna go new part. And again, just double click on the cell for the text box to appear. Under date, go ahead and put in today's date. So that's going to be 1/2/4/24. And under approved here, you could either put your name or your initials. In this case, let's do initials. Your initials, not the word initials. So in this case, my initials would be, it's going to be WSA. All right. All right, so there's our rev block. All right, and since we are setting up our sheet here, let's go ahead and get our title block set up here. So this is the title block in ANSI standard using SolidWorks. All right, so notice how if I were to click on any of the spaces or any of the options here, or excuse me, cells in the title block, I can't make any changes. That's because we are going to have to go into the sheet on the back end to make any sort of changes to the title block. So to do that, in space, anywhere in space on the drawing or outside the drawing, if you right click and bring out your contextual menu, you're going to see an option here called Edit Sheet Format. So we're going to select Edit Sheet Format, and notice how these cells and the title block is now highlighted. So from here, these are all just default names that SolidWorks just pulled from the part. So we're just going to fix that and correct it. So first, let's go ahead and change the title to this drawing. So to change that, if you select that text, there's already a text box in there. We can just double click and then highlight everything as you would in a normal when you're editing text. We're going to delete it, and we're going to name this drawing Locating Plate. And what I'm actually going to do here is make it center justified and make it on top of and put the two words on top of each other to make it look more neat. And the part number here, just for this exercise, let's go ahead and just name this EGNT 111, but in normal cases, whatever part number was assigned to this particular part, this is where you would put it. Now notice when I double click on these text boxes, another menu box comes up here, and this is where you're able to change the font style, size, and justifications, and also formatting. So you can go bold, italic, but we're not going to do that. But if you were going to make any changes, that's how you would do it for the text box. Just double click, and this formatting menu should all automatically come up. All right. So let's go ahead and add a revision. See, there's no text box there, but in that cell, it's just not shown. You just have to double click on that cell. We're going to add A, and we're going to click out, and there is A. Now, a weight wasn't applied because we didn't really apply material on there, but this is where you would apply weight. So just for this exercise, a hypothetical amount, I'm just going to guess this plate weighs, I don't know, quarter pound. So we're just going to go quarter pound. All right. And the scale here, it says 1:1. And this particular drawing, we are going to keep that scale, and that's going to be, so we're just going to keep that 1:1. So the drawn, double click that again. Let me zoom in here. And again, the text box isn't shown. Just double click on the cell. It's already there. And when you're going to put your name, in this case, go W Aquino. That's going to be for Will Aquino. And today's date, and today's date is 1/24/24. All right, and similar process if there is a checker or when it is going through check, their names would go in there and the date as well. So let me go and just put today's date as well. Now notice that my name here kind of carries over to the next cell. Now these lines here aren't fixed, so you can manipulate the lines on this title block. So notice if I click on the line, you'll have your constraint symbols up, but you're able to actually move these. See these square boxes on the end of this line? You can take and drag that up or down, whichever way you need to do so. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and go undo, so Control Z, bring that back into place, and I'm just going to manipulate this line to fit my name in the box. So I'm just going to click and drag, and I'm just going to shift that over to the left a little bit, and by doing that, I'm also going to shift my name over to fit in the box and to center it, and same with the line under. Now notice you can't really see on screen, but there are yellow dashed lines right under that, and that's snapping, so it's lining up with the bottom part of the text beside it. All right. All right, so there's my name, checker's name, and this is your tolerance box, and you can also apply your tolerances in here. Now for this exercise, we're not going to apply any tolerance yet, but that's going to be coming forward in future exercises. But let's go ahead and give this particular drawing material. So material wasn't applied onto the part itself, but we're just going to say that it's 6061 aluminum. All right, and finish, let's say smooth finish. All right, so we have the basic sheet here pretty much set up. And yeah, so the next video is going to be on, oh well, before we actually go there, so to tie things up, on the right upper right hand corner you'll see this icon here with an arrow, a square box with an arrow. Go ahead and accept the changes, and it's going to bring us back to the sheet mode. Alright, now since we're back here, I cannot make any changes whatsoever to the title block. Now I noticed that right there. I'm going to go back here in sheet mode. I'm just going to manipulate this line here to fit that cell. Alright, and get out of there. Alright, so we are set up to lay out our views. That's going to be the next video.